Thanks everyone for coming in online. Um, so what we're talking about today is my name's Alex Wilson, broker owner, Remax Wealth Builders Real Estate. And what I've achieved today, I wouldn't have been able to achieve without bringing structure in my life. And I want to tell everyone a story and where before I could work really hard and be successful and I felt like I had unlimited time. And then we had our first child. Laura is my wife. And then we had our first child. And I was still working while we had the first child, obviously. But what I mean, still working, is that what I said to Laura before our daughter was born. I'm like, Laura, our daughter, here's the date that's coming up. I'm going to be really, really busy at work. This is launch season for real estate. This would have been in fall 2017. I'm like, I'm probably not going to be around for the first 6 weeks. I have a record number of launches that I'm dealing with. And she's like, no problem. That's okay. I got this covered. I'll bring my help. I'll organize everything. And so the first 6 weeks go by, and I'm still really busy. And then we're getting to week 7 and week 8, and I'm still working like I didn't have a child. And one day on a Friday evening, I'm Laura, okay, I got to go out, and Laura's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" I'm like, "No, I got to go to a work event." And Laura's like, "No, you know what? We need you. We need you to be part of this family, and you need to make changes in order to be a good husband, a good father. You can't keep going like this." And that's a very powerful moment when someone says that to you, your spouse and your mother of your first child. And that's where changes had to come into play. And that brings us to where we are today. Now we have a 7-year-old, we have a 5-year-old, we have a 3-year-old, we have a business with uh, a number of employees, double-digit employees. We operate in Ontario and in Alberta. And I would not have been able to achieve this without changing my mindset and realizing that, okay, I'm going to use the adage, work smarter, not harder. But that's what it was all about. It's okay. Let's lean into my strengths. Number one. Number two, let's find the people to surround myself that can do the things that I'm not strong at. Number two, and number three, and most importantly, realizing that you make the rules to your own game and you define what success is. So we're all raised to work hard, and hard work equals success. But if you change the rules, and this is what I've learned, and the title of it is, what I've learned from hanging out with billionaires, is that you make your own rules. So if you make your own rules to define the game, you can rewrite the whole game and then stack it so you can win the game. Like that's what it is. So Jen, why don't you go? Why don't you flip over to the next slide? Um, so the last 2 years, Laura and I have gone to an event on Necker Island, and the first time I was there, I got into a major bike crash with Richard Branson, and we were attending on his an event on his private island as well. And what was amazing about meeting Sir Richard Branson and seeing what he was able to accomplish is that he truly lives freedom. He has pure freedom. And you may go, well, Alex, he's a billionaire. Of course he has pure freedom. But that isn't the case. The case is that he built a life around creating freedom for himself. It's not a monetary thing. It is he's built a life so that he is purely free and is able to do things that he wants. And he's someone that is available to you. He's present when you speak with him. He loves it. He's self-proclaimed, loves people, and wants to see the best out of people. And it's the life that he's created for himself. And one of the philosophies he lives by, and that Laura and I have adopted, is he calls the circle um, ideology. And the circle ideology is you stack your life in circles. The most important person in your circle is yourself. So if you're not focusing on being the best version of yourself, how can that you then be the best version of yourself for other people? So number one, you have to take care of yourself, and this is where structures come into play. So going back to Laura saying, "Hey, you have to be present. We need you here." I didn't have structure at that point. I needed to build structure into our lives. And we wouldn't have the life that we have today without Laura building structure in our household for us to successfully have 3 kids, for us to successfully have a thriving marriage. It comes from structure. And I wouldn't have structure in my business if I didn't have Jen come into our business. I'll get the story how Jen came into our business. Jen coming into our business and showing us how to build systems and processes into our business. It's with this structure I was able to create the freedom for myself, and I needed a team of individuals around me to create that. So going back to the circle, number one, you take care of yourself. Once yourself is taken care of, then you can start expanding. You got another circle. In your next circle, you can add your spouse, your partner. That's in your next circle. Not your kids, your spouse. Why is that? Before your kids, because you need a strong relationship together to be the best version of yourselves. You're a partnership, you're a team for then your children. Then your children come in the next circle. Because if you're taken care of and you've taken care of your wife and your wife is taking care of you and you have good systems, processes, understand each other. And Laura and I do lots of assessments to understand how we best work with each other. Then you can go up and show up for your kids. Now you're showing up for your kids, your best version of yourself. That allows you to be that role model for your children, which is so important for us. Then after that, you're that best version of that. Then you can expand then to your family and be that best version of your family. And then you can expand farther and you can be the best version of yourself to your employees, to your coworkers. Then after that, you expand. Now you're a contributing member of your community. You're a contributing member to your town, city. You're a contributing member of your country. You're a contributing member global. If we talk about the circles, Richard Branson has reached the pinnacle of that. We can all look towards how do we build structures and processes. Who are the people we bring in to help us so that we remove things from our lives, because we only have so much time, remove things in our lives that are holding us from expanding our circle so we can be the better version of ourselves moving forward and working in our unique abilities that we're best suited to be doing. So looking at that, how do we grow bigger and better on that? So that's how I've been able to achieve a level of success. And that's where speaking with Richard Branson, meeting at these events, incredibly successful people. Guess what? They're all normal people. They are all normal people. They're just like you and I. Just like you and I, I've had conversations with them all. The only difference is these individuals have built structures in their lives. Now, some people build structures in their business, but then don't build structure at home, or they have structure at home and they don't have structure in their business. So these individuals, Laura and Jen, are the individuals that have brought structure in both my business and then in my home, so that I can be an individual that thrives, so I can be the best version of myself. Laura can be the best version of Laura, best version for my kids, and that allows me to really pursue what I want to do. So going back into how we met Jen, so obviously I met Laura and married her, and we had kids. And then once we had many kids, I said, Laura, I need more structure in my business. I need to create more time. I need more time so I can be home around you and I can be with your kids. Building systems and processes isn't my strength. And I said, Laura, when you're finished your mat leave, why don't you come into the business and help me out? And you know what Laura's response was to me? No, you're an asshole. and what she meant by that is that she didn't want to work for me, which that doesn't work. It does not work. And when Laura talks about what she provides, we're talking about Colby tests and print assessments and everything like that. Your spouse cannot work for you. Your spouse has to work with you. So I said to Laura, okay, absolutely. I don't plan for you to work for me, which we dabbled in that before, did not go well. You're going to work with me. She's like, that's great. You still are an asshole. You have an inability to communicate. I'm like, yes, I know that. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in a company called EOS. We're going to bring in a company called EOS, and they're going to come in and they're going to be our intermediary to help us learn how to communicate in the office place. And we're going to hire a whole bunch of employees and we're going to run on this EOS system. And this is going to build the systems and processes that's going to give me more time. So I'm not doing the things that I don't like doing, and that I can be the best version of myself at home and give myself the ability to be home more, so I can be a father in the evening, so I can be a husband in the evening, so I can be a father on the weekends, and a husband on the weekends. And that's when Jen came into our life, because she was the person that was able to help us build structure around their business, so that when we came home, we weren't worried about dealing with our business. That was all built in a structure. So everything I've learned by meeting successful people is that they have systems and processes in place. And guess what? You may not be great at creating systems and processes. And I can tell you 1000%, I cannot create systems and processes. My personality is to break systems and processes. This is, Laura will talk more about that. That is literally, I have to find ways around systems and processes, and that's what I'm really good at what I do. But when you're running a business, you need systems and processes. So I can find opportunity out in the marketplace by navigating around systems and processes, but to have a successful business, you need those. So that's where I'm going to let Jen talk about how she teaches entrepreneurs and not even just like people that work in the corporate world as well, how to create systems and processes in the business and the EOS model.
Perfect. Thank you, Alex. Always so great to hear about your time with Richard. So Alex has talked about how we used EOS to help him get everything he wanted from his business, which usually involves some sort of personal and professional success. So as we're going to dive in here to talk about how you can use these tools to get everything you want from your business. And this starts off with a very deceptively simple question, which is, what is it that you want, right? So Alex was just talking about how for him, he wanted a successful business and time with his family. But as you go down this path, you have to start with answering this question, right? So do you want to be the next Richard Branson with a big empire? Do you want to build a big company like a Facebook? Do you want to build a company that is providing really great lifestyle for your family? So that is the starting point, because here is where we optimize everything else to help you figure out how to get there. So once you know what you want, then you can use this EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, to help you get that. So fundamentally, at its very core, EOS is just a set of simple tools to help you run a better business so you can live a better life. And when we do this work, we are really helping you to get better at three things that we call vision, traction, and healthy. So vision means helping you to make sure that you are 100% on the same page with where you're going and how you plan to get there, and that your whole team is bought into and aligned around that vision. Traction means helping you to execute with discipline and focus and accountability, so that wherever you look in your business, people are getting you closer and closer to achieving that vision. And healthy means helping to build that really healthy team culture where people feel comfortable speaking openly and honestly, getting their real issues out, and they have a lot of fun working together as they build towards that vision. So at its very core, that is what EOS is about. Now, when Gino Wickman was developing EOS about 20 years ago, he was looking around at all these different entrepreneurs, and 95% of them were frustrated with their business. So they were feeling one of these five things. They were either feeling like their business was out of their control, right? So not like you're in charge driving the bus, you're chasing down the bus, behind the bus, trying to keep up with what's happening in the business. Or they felt like there was a lack of profit in the business. They just weren't making enough money given how much time and energy and resources they were pouring into their business. They were frustrated with their people, feeling like nobody gets it, nobody cares as much as I do. Frustrated with this feeling of hitting the ceiling. We used to be growing, we used to be thriving, and we just feel stuck and don't know how to take this to the next level. Or this feeling that nothing is working. We've tried all these different things, we've brought in different people, we've listened to different podcasts, nothing seems to stick. So Gina was looking around at all these companies, and there was 95% of them looked like this, but 5% of them seemed to have overcome these frustrations. And there were still challenges in their business, but they were facing new challenges and growing and generally feeling like they were getting what they wanted out of their business. So we studied the 5% versus the 95% and find that those 5% who were doing really well had gotten really good at 6 things. So we call these the 6 key components of your business. And I'm going to walk through what these 6 things are that you need to strengthen in order to be getting everything you want out of your business. So the first key component is the vision component, right? Where are we going and how are we going to get there? And translating what's in your head, as Alex was saying, the entrepreneur has a vision in their head. How do you communicate that to the rest of the team so everybody is rowing in the boat with you to help you achieve that vision? The second key component is the people component, right? Because without great people, you cannot achieve great vision. But how do we get to the heart of what great people means for your business, given where you are today, given where you want to go? The third thing you need to get really good at is the data component, right? Entrepreneurs tend to be really good with their gut instinct, but you need to at some point be augmenting that great gut instinct with real data that helps you make better decisions, help you have visibility to what's happening in the business, if the right stuff is happening, so you're generating the right results. We need to get really good at the issues component. So issues are always coming up, right? Everybody has issues every day. More issues come up, different things we need to be worried about, different things we could take advantage of. How good are we at actually solving those issues? So we need to make sure that those issues are coming to light. We have a culture where people feel comfortable saying what they feel and saying what they think is not working, getting those issues out on the table, prioritizing them, solving them at the root, and making them go away forever. The fifth key component of your business is the process component. So this is all about making sure the most important things in your business are done the right and best way every single time so that you have discipline in how they're being done. There is consistency in how your clients are being served. Your business is scalable, profitable, and everybody is having fun working together to deliver in your business. And finally, the sixth key component is the traction component, right? So this is all about making sure that there is that discipline and focus and accountability around what people are working on so you're actually executing against that vision. So at the core, this is the EOS model. And really, this is all about harmonizing and orchestrating all the moving parts of your business so that you can run a better business and live a better life. We like to say that vision without traction is hallucination, right? It's easy to sit there and create a vision and say, this is the bigger, better future I want for myself. But until you have a system in place that's helping you execute against that vision, it's going to remain a dream. So let's dig in a little bit more. So what I want to do today is give you some of the tools that we use with our clients so that you can start using these right away. So I'm going to walk through them here, but near the end of my presentation here, I'm going to show you exactly where you can get these tools so you can start using them right away in your business. So when we look to strengthen the vision component, the first tool that we use here is called the Vision Traction Organizer. So think of this as a communication tool to help your team have a conversation to get on the same page with what that vision is, build that traction so you are all on the same page with what you're focusing on. So the Vision Traction Organizer, or VTO, is really just answering 8 simple questions. Think of it as a 2-page business plan for your business. So the first page is the vision component. So here we have the first 5 questions. What are your core values? What are those essential guiding characteristics that define what a great person is for your unique organization? What is your core focus, your mission statement, vision statement? What is the thing that you need to be laser focused on delivering because you are better at that than anybody else? What is your 10-year target? So that number one long-term business goal to make sure you all know what your North Star is and where you are headed. Your marketing strategy. So how are we going to get there? Who is our ideal client and what are the messages that should be in that we should be saying to those people that will resonate with them? Our 3 uniques, our proven process, and our guarantee. So once you answer those first three questions, now you know who you are at your core with your core values, what it is you do best with your core focus, where you're going with your 10-year target, how you're going to get there with your marketing strategy. Now we need to get really crystal clear on what this business looks like 3 years from now. So we just want to have the same image in our minds of where we're going to be in 3 years. How big are we going to be? What is our revenue, profit, and key measurables going to be? And what does this business looks like? Again, this is just getting everybody on the same page with where you're headed long term. Then we flip from the vision side to the traction side. And this is where we get really practical and say, how are we going to get there? Okay, so this year, the 1 year plan is by the end of this year, this is how big we're going to be, our revenue, profit, and key measurables. And these are the 3 to 7 goals for the year, the most important things that must get done this year in order for us to be on track. And note that it's 3 to 7 things, not 20 or 30 things, because we want to be laser focused on that short list of things that's really going to move the dial. Then we take it into a 90-day world and set 90-day quarterly priorities that we call rocks. So in the next 90 days, where's our revenue, profit, and key measurables going to be? And then what are those 3 to 7 most important things that must get done with single person accountability? So this is just getting you on the same page with what the top priorities in your business are. And then finally, you have your issues list, which is your parking lot for all the other stuff you'd love to get to someday, but isn't a priority for right now. So that is your first tool to help you translate your vision into a clear, succinct plan to get your team rallied around what you are driving towards. Next, we're going to shift to the people component. So to execute on that great vision, how do you make sure you have the right people? So we break this into 2 pieces: right people, right seats. So right people means people who share your core values. So if you think back to that VTO, that first question there, who are those people that are going to be a great fit with your culture, that are the kind of people who you want on your team? Right seats is all about making sure you have the right structure for your business and have people on your team who are really great at their job. When we do this work, we're going to build a tool called the accountability chart. So this is the second tool that you can start using right away. And really, we just want to get really crystal clear on what is the structure your business needs and what is everybody accountable for. We take a structure first, people second approach. So we start off by saying, what is the right structure to get us where we need to go? So to build your accountability chart, we start off with the basic assumption that every business has 3 core functions that make it run. Somebody has to tell people you exist and bring clients in the door, your marketing and sales. Somebody has to actually deliver the product, build the service, lead your operations, and typically finance. There's 2 more roles that make a great business run. One is the integrator. That is the person who is in the weeds day to day, holding the team accountable, integrating all the different functions. And then you have your visionary, who is typically the founding entrepreneur. Visionaries tend to be great people. They are really good at managing big relationships. They have tons of ideas. As I said, they're usually the founding entrepreneur. But visionaries often sit in a CEO seat and struggle with the execution side of things. So this can be so powerful when a visionary brings an integrator into the business. So that visionary has the great ideas, the integrator makes sure you're executing against them. And this is where Alex brought Laura into his business to help her. So Laura sits in the integrator seat, Alex sits in the visionary seat. And so Laura helps to translate Alex's great big ideas into reality by helping the team, holding the team accountable to execute against them. So that's how you build an accountability chart. You start off by looking at what are the roles we need on our leadership team. Then we say, what does each of those seats need to be accountable for? So really high level, what are the 3 to 5 key things that seat is accountable for delivering on? And then we say, who is the right person for that seat? So for example, a seat could look like marketing and sales. That seat is accountable for leading, managing, and holding people accountable in that department, for doing the marketing, for hitting the sales numbers, for actually doing the selling, and for account management, for example. And then we say, who is the right person for that seat? So you map that out for your entire organization and say, what is the structure we need to get to where we want to go? And then we ask, who is the right person for those seats? And for that, we use a framework called GWC. Do they get it? Do they want it? And do they have the capacity to do it? So that is how you get that structure in place. Alex was talking about how it's critical to achieve what he's achieved and what Richard achieves is getting the right people on your team, surrounding yourself with people who will do the other work so you can thrive in your unique ability. This is how you get that. Let's look at the data component. So how do we strengthen that data component? The next tool I'm going to give you is the scorecard. So the scorecard is how you know if things are going well in your business or not, right? So this one piece of paper will tell you if things are going well or not. So the way you build a scorecard is by taking a look at what are those key measurables that tell you whether you had a good week or not. Then we set a very specific goal for each week so we know exactly what success looks like every week. We have single person accountability for keeping that number on track. And we pair that with 13 weeks of data. So the scorecard tells you whether things are going well in the business or not. It allows you to see issues as they're cropping up versus when it's too late. So this is a tool that just will give you a full pulse on your business and allow you to intervene early when issues are brewing. Finally, though, I'm going to skip over the issues and process piece because I really just want to give you a few tools today. So the traction component, how do you make sure you're getting more of the right stuff done? So the first tool there is rocks, which we already talked about during the VTO, just making sure you're aligned on what the company rocks are for the quarter, those 3 to 7 most important things that must get done for every individual on the leadership team, and then ultimately for every single employee so that you're all aligned on what the top priorities are that are going to move the business forward in the next quarter. Then we need to make sure we have the right meeting pulse in place. So most companies have a meeting pulse that looks like an annual planning process, a quarterly touch point, right? So getting into that rhythm of setting those 90-day rocks, making sure you're aligned around priorities. And then what we are introducing here is a weekly meeting for the leadership team that keeps you focused on the most important things in your business. So this is the final tool I will share with you today. It's called the Level 10 meeting. So this is a very structured approach to have a weekly leadership team meeting that lasts for an hour and a half that makes sure you have visibility into and are talking about the most important things in your business. So here's what a Level 10 meeting structure looks like. So we start off by sharing good news, getting us all on the same page, celebrating the wins in our business that week. Then we look at the 3 most important things in our business. Scorecard. Is business going well today or not? We look at our rocks. Are we focusing on getting our big strategic priorities done? And customer and employee headlines. Are our customers and employees happy, right? So these are the 3 most important things in your business to have visibility into. The key to making this meeting successful is that this section is reporting only. So we're just looking at on track or off track, and anything that's off track, we're dropping down to the issues list to dig into, but we're being really intentional about which things the leadership team is spending their time on. Then we do a to-do list. So we're checking in from last week, driving that week-to-week accountability, making sure we're making progress on these issues. And then we spend most of our time together IDSing our most important issues. So taking a look at all the issues we have, prioritizing them, solving them at the root, and putting in place a plan to make them go away forever. Then we conclude with 5 minutes left so that we get out of there on time, give each other feedback. So we're getting to the point where every meeting is a 10 out of 10. It's the most productive meeting of your week. It's the best use of your time. Some visionaries get to the point where the only time they are spending in their business is this weekly level 10 meeting because it's giving them the highlights of what's happening in their business. So there's a lot more to EOS, but I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot today of what are some of those tools that you can use to make sure your team is focused on the right things, you have the right people around you so that you can build towards that future that you are envisioning for yourself. So how can you use these tools to get results? So the first tool that I would offer you is the Traction Library. So we publish tons of books around this content. The starting point would, of course, be Traction. So I highly recommend this book if this feels like something that would be useful to you. There's a whole bunch of other books, Rocket Fuel, that digs into the visionary integrator relationship. But Traction is definitely the place to start. One of our core values is help first. So we give all of this away for free. So if you go to our website, you can go download tools, you can watch videos on how to build them. There's an org checkup that you can take that gives you sort of it's like a quiz that will spit out for you how strong you are in the 6 key components so you know where your weaknesses are and what you want to focus on. And so here is my offer to you, what I'm happy to help you with. Feel free to reach out if this is resonating with you and you want to access those free tools. So as I mentioned, we have templates for all of these. I'm happy to send you the templates so you can get started building your scorecard, building your accountability chart. Feel free to reach out for those. If this resonated with you and you said, you know what, I would love to dig in more and learn more about EOS, I'm happy to have a call to help you figure out how you can apply this in your business. If you loved this and say, I want my team to learn about how we can use EOS, I go in and share this with leadership teams at no charge and just share with them what it looks like to run their business on EOS. And finally, if you really loved this and said, this is exactly what we need. We need to do this quickly. We need to do this really well. There's over 800 EOS implementers around the world who've worked with over 26,000 companies. So if you are looking at this and want someone who can help you do this really well, I can help connect you with a coach in your local market who can help you implement these things. So and this is what our proven process looks like. So there's a very specific journey that all companies going through EOS will use to implement this to get you running on EOS quickly and help you start getting more of the right things done right away. So that is how you can work on optimizing your business and getting more of the results you want from your business. And now I'm going to turn it over to Laura to talk about how you can do this. Actually, before I turn it over to Laura, Alex, did you have anything you wanted to say there before we turn it over to Laura?
No, like what we're looking at is creating peace and harmony at work and at home, and you have helped create peace and harmony. Well, I can we can say this, like Laura, in January we do I hate to use the word performance reviews, but like we speak with the employees in January. Everyone's
Yeah,
very
performance reviews.
well, I know, but they are. That's what they are. But I thought there'd be like I'm the sales guy. So like I like a salesy line. Like performance review isn't a salesy line. So I was thinking of something that was more enticing to call it. But anyways, but we had those. But and the employees are very happy. And they love the EOS model because it provides them with a way a voice. It provides them with a voice, and you know, friction comes, issues come, but there is a procedure to deal with those things, and that's the framework that EOS provides. Is it provides a framework to communicate expectations to the team and to deal with issues so that again when you're going home at 5 p.m. or whatever time you're going home, you're not thinking about work. Everyone's on the same page, and that was key for business life. Now, Laura, I want to introduce Laura. Laura, I said to her, Laura, you have an incredible ability to delegate tasks to other people, to communicate the expectations to other people, and to hold those individuals accountable to meet their expectations. And Laura's like, really? I do? Like, I don't see that. But that's because that is her unique ability. She's so good at it that she doesn't even know that she's good at it. And was really interesting. So yesterday we were in a call with entrepreneurs from across Canada and the US, highly successful individuals. And it's part of a group called the Epic Fit Network. And the founder of that is and his wife are friends of ours. And he said, Alex, Laura, what was it? It's about did he say 70% of entrepreneurial couples he sees them like incredibly stressed out and heading for divorce? 70% of entrepreneurial couples. And he was amazed by how we're able to operate in sync with each other. And my reply was, well, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, but we put the effort and work in. And we believe in assessment tools to understand each other. So, and what I said to Justin, as I said, Justin, I can say this with confidence that I believe that with Laura going in, she could solve a lot of the problems that these entrepreneurial couples are experiencing, and you could drastically reduce that number that we're looking at that are heading for divorce, because it's understanding where the frictions are and then removing those removing the friction areas. I'll back it up. A, eliminating the friction area, or B, finding someone else to handle the friction area, or C, you know what, sometimes there's going to be friction, but that's okay because you know why there's friction and you're going to minimize your time in that friction area. So you're not upset with the person going, oh, you annoy me when you do this. It's more like, oh, yeah, I know why that's your personality. That's just how you're going to be. I don't expect you to change, but I'm going to minimize my time in that period. And also vice versa. The other person's like, oh, I know I'm being mean, I'm me, but I'm going to limit my time being me in this area with this individual. And I'm saying this in that when Laura talks, her and I are complete opposites and have many, many areas that we can trigger each other in. But instead of focusing on, oh man, these things that Alex does or these things that Laura does really upsets me, it's like, no, let's use these and combine where our strengths and weaknesses are and come go forward together and do that. So without further ado, I'm going to let Laura go and talk about intentional household and how she's built structure in our household and other people's households and her process and how she does that.
Thank you, Alex. And as I go through this, you will have a deeper understanding as to how we discovered, my skill or my strength of being systemized while Alex breaks systems, and why or how we have potential for high conflict, and how you can determine if you have potential for high conflict with your partner or a teammate, and how you can use that to your advantage or overcome that. So where Jen helps businesses get in order using EOS, I help on the home front using the intentional household process. So we observed that there are so many professionals and entrepreneurs who are working hard to grow their businesses, get the right systems, get the right people in place. However, their home lives were a mess. Now imagine spending the day with Jen, an EOS implementer, and getting her amazing expertise to help grow your company and help it to thrive. And then you return home and your house is chaotic. And you have a partner who's burnt out from working full time and managing the household. And you have a growing list of to-do items, whether it's home repairs. You have a home repair to-do list, but you actually aren't even handy, right? But you are the go-to handy person in the house. Washing dishes, doing laundry, walking the dogs, grocery shopping, running errands. And you have multiple kids who crave your attention, 2 dogs, which we have 2 dogs, or you do have the household support for that, such as a nanny, but your nanny drives your partner crazy, and it's become a stressful situation in the household. Or in our case, you do have a nanny, but you've realized that actually it's not the nanny that you need. So we're going to use this process and so that you can hire the right support that you need. So we had a nanny. We had a nanny for many years. She was wonderful. We had our 3rd child. And it clicked one day when our nanny was hanging out with our kids and I was washing the dishes and I was cleaning, and I realized, wait, I have it wrong. Like I want to be the one spending time with my kids, and I want someone who can wash the dishes. So if I had gone through this process, I actually would have hired a housekeeper cook instead of a nanny. But anyway, so this is created so that hopefully you will hire the right person that you need. Jen, can you switch the slide? Thank you. So our mission is to empower busy professionals with the practical tools and strategies so that they can hire and retain the right individuals who support their needs. We, like Alex mentioned, use assessment tools, Colby A, and print to help couples understand one another and to hire and understand the support that they need. We will get into those tools shortly. But by using the tools alone, it can give couples and teams a very deep understanding of strengths, needs, communication strategies, and triggers, which can often be very difficult to address. So this is something that could be done without going through the intentional household process. It is possible to use these tools. But in turn, by having your support in place, you're able to free up your time and focus on what matters most to you. Whether it is spending quality time with your kids, your physical, mental health, learning new skills, hobbies, engaging the sport you've missed, or starting a new business. But until you have the day-to-day chaos dealt with, it's very difficult as a family or as a couple to goal set and to focus on your bigger future and really enjoy life because you are stuck focusing on the nitty-gritty of everyday life. So how are we different? This is a unique service that is unlike anything else that we have seen on the market. This is a hands-on approach. It is like nanny recruitment, housekeeping recruitment, but it is so much more. So we identify from the very beginning, we will get into it actually, what the entire process looks like, but it is a hands-on approach because we know that if I were to, tell you to do it on your own, give you some homework, there are people like Alex who wouldn't get it done. So by making this a hands-on, hand-holding approach, we can ensure that you will have success because we do it together. And the focus is really to empower individuals, the clients, to choose the right household support that they need for their household, and they're involved in the process. And then later have the confidence to now find further support that they need to help them. And it ensures that you have the right people in the right roles for a smoothly functioning home. And our goals in the process are to replace those draining tasks. So by draining tasks, I'm talking about tasks you really don't like doing. They drain your energy, they drain your time, they cause stress and anxiety. You don't want to do it. So the goal here is to remove all of those tasks from your plate, and replace it with energizing activities. So these are things that bring you joy. They give you energy, things that you want to spend your time on. We also want to eliminate the pain points and pressures of daily household management. If you have someone in your household, it can be stressful. It can be hard having those conversations and addressing them. But like Jen in EOS, they talk about getting comfortable, having those uncomfortable conversations. So we help you with that so that ideally you set up the process so that things are set up properly. But if you do have to have these conversations, you can, and it makes things a lot easier. And then lastly, it's so that you can allow you to spend your time on the things and the people that matter most to you in your life right now. So this is how it works. We do, the first step is an initial discovery and an assessment to get an idea of what you are like. So you have an idea also of what I am like, if we are a fit for one another. You have a very clear idea of what the process is, the expectations, how long it will take. And these are sessions that we have virtual 1 hour at a time, week to week, but it can be even longer depending on your schedule and your availability. The second step is self-discovery, because who doesn't like learning about themselves? In order to do this process, you need to learn all about yourself. So we do that by defining what matters most to you. So Jen's question in EOS is, what do you want? For intentional household, we need to determine what matters most to you. For me, it's spending time with my family, my friends, being involved in a couple communities. It's working out, playing tennis. It is getting a good night's sleep. And I say that because I used to spend time cleaning in the evening and it would affect my bedtime. I would clean until 10 p.m. So I put that on there because it matters to me to go to sleep early, and that was affecting it. So that is a part of my list, and waking up early. So by writing down your list and referring back to it, you can use that as your success criteria. And then you complete the Kolbe A. Can you actually go back, and we'll just keep it on there, Jen. I'm going to get into the Kolbe A. So this helps individuals to determine how they operate when they're free to be themselves. And this is when they are striving. So we discover what your strengths are. Both, if you are a couple, the couple both complete their Kolbe A. So we do the Kolbe A individually, and then we do a comparison between the two individuals. So this allows you to determine what your strengths are together as a team. There are a total of 12 strengths, and So where Alex said that he and I have high potential for conflict, we do, because we cover 8 of the 12 strengths. So that is wonderful, but we are very different. So by understanding that, we know that we can work together, but separately. But we are a really great match because we are able to achieve a lot with our strengths. But another couple could be very similar, meaning they have very similar strengths, meaning there may be more gaps. So you could have someone who is like Alex. They are high quick starts, or they're innovators, meaning they have all the ideas in the world, lots of great ideas. A couple, you can have them together. They're like, we can change the world. We have the best ideas. However, they are not systemized individuals. It means they have low follow through and they don't bring projects through to completion. So while they may have all the best ideas in the world, they're never getting anything started, and definitely nothing, they aren't finishing it. So by understanding that, it allows you to have an idea of, okay, who do we need to bring in to support us? If we are 2 individuals who have lots of great ideas, but we can't finish anything, do we need to bring in a personal assistant who can help us to systemize things and bring it through to completion?
And I'll jump in here. This is where, when you start understanding these items of an individual's personality and how they operate, you'll understand, well, that's a friction point. I've been expecting my spouse, my partner, to finish this, and this, and they said they're going to do it, and they're not doing it. And then you see their profile, like, oh, they're I can't expect them to finish it. They're just not going to finish it. They may have they may have quick start, they may have some great ideas, but their follow through is so low. Or you have to create an environment where they can finish those. So the systems and processes to allow them to focus to finish those items. So that's where, when you start diving into these assessment tools and understanding how the person operates, and then Laura will go into why the person operates at their inner motivations. It is, oh yeah, so you got the why there as well. It is so valuable to understand. It just removes those friction points, because you're like, oh, now I get it. That's why they're operating that way.
Exactly. So if I were to create a system and expect Alex to follow it, it would be very challenging because it's just not the way he operates. And it would cause a lot of stress for him. And it would cause a lot of stress for me. Is it annoying? Yeah, it is. But I have an understanding that it's not in Alex's nature to follow systems. Okay, and then the next one is Prince.
Yeah, I want to just jump in as well quickly. Now, just for everyone now to think, when you go home with your spouse and partner, and things that annoy you, and things that frustrate you, and think how valuable it would be if you had this tool done for yourself and your spouse and partner, so you identify, oh, that's why it is. Okay, and then when you guys both talk to each other and then connect that way, going, oh, this makes so much sense to me now. And then when I jumped in, because that's what I do. But Laura will go into print, but explain that it gets further when you understand the inner motivations as well.
That's right. But also, instead of trying to get them to change, it's accepting who they are and finding strategies to work within that. So then Print allows individuals to uncover their unconscious motivators. By understanding this, you understand how you can be your best self and your most productive self. And then on the flip side, you also understand what your triggers are. What annoys me, right? And it's spelled out for you. And you can use those triggers later on in the hiring process to spell it out when you're hiring the individual, to say, these are things that drive me nuts. And you're making it very crystal clear for that person who you're hiring to understand it, so that you can ideally reduce any stress or conflict. And then with Print, you also have an understanding of an individual's communication strategies. So depending on what their unconscious motivators are, they may be best communicating face to face versus in text. And I have a housekeeper, and her best communication strategy is in person. And now that I understand that, I don't send text messages to her, because the way my tone can come off can be very misinterpreted. And so by understanding that about her, we can work together cohesively and reduce any sort of stress. So, and just like with your partner as well, you have an understanding of one another and where they're coming from and why they're doing what they do and why they say what they say and all that. Okay, next, Jen. So that is part of step 2. And then lastly, this is one thing. If you wanted to start this, this is a strategy you can begin at home. So the next step is identifying your energizing activities and also your draining tasks. So what you would do for this is the first step, identify all of the household activities, tasks that you and your partner are responsible for completing within the household. This is a massive list, but you write every single thing down that you can think of. Secondly, you're going to review the list and label it. You're going to put a D if you identify this as a draining task. These are mentally draining tasks that can create, like I said, stress, anxiety for you, or repetitive tasks that can drain your time. So these are tasks that you would love to remove from your life. It could be something like, laundry, cooking, cleaning, walking the dogs. I mean, massive. K for keeping. So these are tasks that you don't love, but you're committed to completing them for your own reasons. Example could be bedtime. Bedtime is very stressful for us, for you, Jen, as well, I think for many parents. But this is not something that I am willing to outsource. But we identify this. We know that this is something that may drain your time, but we can work on strategies to help alleviate the stress in the future. And then lastly is E for energizing activities. So again, these are activities that give you energy and you find enjoyment completing them. So you may put on gardening because that is draining to you. And then your partner could say, actually, that's something that's energizing to me. I don't want to outsource that. Let's keep that. That's an energizing task for me. So you're going to review the list with your partner if you have a partner. And also identify, like for us, emptying the dishwasher was a draining task for me. Alex, when I communicate that to him, he's like, actually, that's very easy. That's something that I can do instead. Doesn't need to be outsourced. So you're going to review your list of draining activities together and find themes of potential support for your intentional delegation. So by themes, it could be, oh, wow, based on what I'm seeing here, this is a potential job description for a housekeeper, a cook, a nanny, a personal assistant. And so that allows you to decide of these tasks that we want to delegate and these potential individuals for support, who do we want to move forward with and hire? Okay, next step, Jen. So step 3 is when you have identified, okay, you know what? Actually, a housekeeper is someone who would support our household. And then you also are going to create an intentional household organization structure. This is kind of like your accountability chart that Jen does, but this is for your household so that you have specified who is doing what, so that you are making the most of your resources and two people aren't wasting their energy, their resources on the same task. It is very clear who is responsible for what. And then the step 4 is you are going to begin the recruitment process together. So I would guide you as you begin the recruitment. So creating a job post. Remember, we basically have started the foundation of the job description, but we are also going to put together all the other information needed to create a job post. And we are going to post the job in a local area that is, popular for posting jobs for you. So it could be nannyservices.ca, a local Facebook group, various sites, that kind of thing. And then I would screen the individuals for the client and then hand them your way. So, if it was Jen, actually Jen has gone through the process, but so for Jen, I would screen the individuals and then say, okay, Jen, this is an individual who I think is worth interviewing. Set Jen up with all the questions, and then Jen can take it away with a phone interview, interviewing the candidates. We also use Colby A and Print with the candidates to ensure that their strengths align with your needs, and that you have an understanding of who they are. And we go through the entire process from interviews to the trial day to onboarding, all like to the very end. And ideally, once you have your person hired, now imagine having 20, 40 hours freed up at the week so that you can pursue those energizing activities within this structured framework that you have created for your household. Because when we had gone through the training tasks for our household, it was a 40-hour per week role that we needed. If you actually take the time to count up all of the household tasks you may be doing in a 7-day week, it can be 40 hours. But now you have the time to do those things and that energize you, and to focus on those things that matter most to you. And like I said, I also help with the onboarding documents like the agreement and payroll documents, and then guide you all the way through so that you can conduct your first 90-day performance review, and ideally continuing that throughout the process. And also any sort of day-to-day communication strategies that you need, setting you up for success so that you have tools that support you and the person that you hired. So all in all, this intentional household helps with household management. I am also a former dietitian and a culinary trained cook. So nutrition coaching is something that can be a part of the process if needed, and meal planning as well, which is often a huge source of draining your energy, right? Also, conflict resolution, again, because conflict does arise when you're working in a team, whether it's with your partner or with someone in your household, and managing your time, and in the end, having the freedom of time and mind so that you can pursue bigger things. And that is everything. We are past the hour, but if anyone has questions, we're happy to open it up.
Yeah, thank you everyone for spending the time with us. If you do have a Q&A, there's a Q&A box down below, but this has all been recorded. So you will get a copy of the recording if you want to go back and listen to anything that Jen or Laura said. Also, their contact details will be on there. But thank you everyone for coming online and listening to us for an hour and talk about how you can build structure in your business and in your home life to live the life that you strive to live, to get that freedom. So thank you so much. You gave us an hour, and you'll see this in your inbox by tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Jen. Thank you. Bye, Laura. Thanks.
Bye, thanks.